Yager has finally released patch notes for patch 1.3.5 for the Cycle Frontier. And in this patch, we're going to see big weapon changes to finally shake up the meta that has been plaguing the game as of, well, since the game launched. Of course, I'm talking about the Trenchgun, Bulldog, and Manticore. Let's go through these patch notes as quick as possible to save you time and to save myself time editing. So immediately, the first thing we see are changes to the SMGs. SMGs have been a bit underpowered since the game launched, and Yager is looking to bring the SMGs up into the weapon meta a little bit. So first thing we see is reduced horizontal recoil for SMGs and reduced ADS movement speed reduction from minus 30% to minus 25%. So what this means is when you ADS with the SMG, you're actually going to move faster. Think more like Call of Duty. When you use an SMG on Call of Duty and you ADS, you tend to move faster than you do with an AR or LMG. I think this is a good change. I think SMGs are meant to be played fast, and they just don't right now. It's kind of useless in their current state. So I think seeing a reduced horizontal recoil and the reduced movement speed reduction is going to be a huge help for SMGs overall. So we'll see. All right, moving on to shotguns. The B9 Trench Gun, the gun that has plagued the Cycle Frontier along with the Manticore since it launched. Reduced base damage from 80 to 64. It's going from 10 damage per pellet to 8 damage per pellet. I said this in one of my last videos. Increasing the spread on the trench gun really didn't do anything, and it tends to not do anything in most games when they nerf a shotgun and they just increase the spread. You have to nerf the damage, and it looks like that is the route they're going down. I said this is what they would eventually end up doing, and here we are. I think this is going to be the change that is going to bring the trench gun in line to where it should be as a starting weapon, a starter shotgun, but we'll see what happens. Next up, the PKR Maelstrom. They're reducing the recoil, increased spread to be more in line with that of other shotguns. Hip fire spread's going from 3.5 to 5. ADS spread is going from 3 to 4.5. Weapon spread increase 0.5 to 0.65. Also reduced camera shaking intensity. I'm actually really happy about that one. The last time I used the PKR, I hip fired someone with it and the camera just went insane. I don't understand why that's even a thing, but I'm glad that they are reducing the camera shake. And of course, the weapon spread increased to be more in line with the other shotguns. If you don't change that, then the PKR is just going to become the new trench gun, basically. There's a cat on my desk. The Bulldog increased refire time from 0.5 seconds to 0.6 seconds. Basically, you can't spam it as fast as you could before. And also increased spread to be more in line with the spread of the other shotguns. If you don't do this, then, you know, it just becomes a big balancing issue. I think all the shotguns should be on the same level, and it looks like Yager agrees with that. So that's good to see. Next up, the Manticore. Not much changed here, just increased recoil. The last patch, we got a damage decrease on the Manticore by 1 damage. We'll see what this does. The Manticore is still really strong. Adding increased recoil, it definitely can help balance things out. It's a green tier weapon. It shouldn't be as strong as it is. Of course, we don't know until we actually see the recoil in game and get to use it ourselves, but yeah, that's that. Next up, grenades. Grenade spam has been a real thing with the Cycle Frontier since it came out, and it looks like they are trying to fight against that. Added a 1.8 second delay between grenades thrown, preventing players from just unleashing a barrage of explosives and hope to hit the jackpot. It's like you are putting grenades in both of your hands and you're just like, just letting them go. We'll see what this does. 1.8 second delay between grenade throws. Sure. We'll see how it goes. So now we move on to the power progression part of the patch note. Increased penetration of all epic weapons from 26 to 27. Increased penetration of all exotic weapons from 28 to 29. Increased penetration of all legendary weapons from 31 to 32. Increased armor of the epic shield and epic helmet from 26 to 27. Increased armor of the exotic shield, exotic helmet, and NV helmet from 28 to 29. I like this. You have people that have over 1,000,000 K marks. They are still running Manticore Trench Gun green armor. You know, with the current meta as it stands before this patch, there's really no use to run the higher tier weapons or armor. You just get shredded by Manticore and Trench Guns. So maybe with these changes, we won't see that happen as often. And of course, you run into the problem that you want the higher tier weapons and armor to perform at a higher tier as they should, but you don't want it to be too much. I think this is really interesting, and I'm curious to see how this plays out when the patch comes out, and I'm sure Yager is going to be monitoring it very closely. We'll see how this goes. Autoloader crafting. The hydraulic pistons in the recipe are replaced by ball bearings to overall reduce the number of hydraulic pistons required to craft an autoloader. I really like this change. I feel like you have to save up a lot of hydraulic pistons for a bunch of stuff, and this is just one less thing that you don't have to. So That's good. Movement and climbing. Additional tweaks to vaulting and climbing. Not much detail there, but hopefully it's a lot better because I have a lot of issues with climbing and vaulting in the Cycle Frontier. Adjusted max wall climbing distance from 90 to 100. That way you should be able to climb shipping containers. I like that. That's a good change. We implemented the first iteration of the "You are banned" screen to prevent further confusion about some login issues. So if you log in one day and it pops up and says you are banned, well, you're banned. And then, of course, bug fixes. Prospectors who bought the Paladin set ended up with 2 chests and no gloves will now have access to what they purchased. Very frustrating bug there. You pay money for something and it ends up glitching out, but they are fixing it. So after this patch goes live, that should be fixed. Additional tweaks to our internal anti-cheat measures. We are now tracking and having ban automation for additional stats. The cheating seems to be a big problem in the Cycle Frontier right now. Fortunately, I've not run into many cheaters, but from what I see over in the OCE servers, it's not looking good. There's a big cheater problem over there, and hopefully all this can get sorted out. And, of course, that's what comes with free-to-play games. It's just the reality of gaming and 2022. So hopefully they can get that sorted out. And of course, the last few known issues. Biker Queen image shows black hair even though she has white hair. And players on the Epic Games Store who own the Ronin and were missing pieces will get all those back. So again, if you bought the Ronin skin on the Epic Games Store and the skin's missing pieces, after this patch goes live, you will get those missing pieces. I know it's frustrating. You spend money on something and you don't get it because it's glitched or broken or whatever. That's very frustrating, and hopefully Yager can figure out how to prevent this from happening in the future, because that is a pretty big issue. When you spend your money on something, you want what you get. They are fixing it, so hold out till the patch goes live and you should be good. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff for more Cycle Frontier. I'm definitely going to be checking out the changes in this patch, especially the SMG changes. I think this is the first thing I'm going to do as soon as the patch goes live, is do a SMG video to see if it's brought in line with where it should be. It's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.